Going, okay, good. I will do the same. I am rolling now, so
Okay.
anytime you're ready.
Great. So just for the official stuff, my name's Robert Bauman. I'm conducting an oral history interview with Emma Larson Kleinknecht. I have the name right, correct?
Right.
And the spelling is Kleinknecht.
Correct.
Excellent. All right. Make sure we have the spelling right.
Yep.
And today's date is June 12th of 2013, and we're conducting the interview on the campus of Washington State University Tri-Cities. And I'll be talking with Mrs. Kleinknecht about her family's history, her experiences growing up in Richland, in that community. So let's just start, if I could, by asking you about your family. How and why, when did they come to this area? What brought them here? And any information about your family and why they came here would be great.
Well, my dad came from Denmark, and he went up to Alaska and worked in the mines. And then he came down to Seattle, and after a while he got interested in working with the cattle. So somehow or another he came over to Richland and met my mother over there. She was single. And then he married her, and I was born 1918.
And was your mother born and raised in Richland?
No, she was born and raised on the coast,
Okay,
but she had relatives that lived over that way.
okay. Great. And do you know when your parents married?
Oh, a couple years before I was born.
Okay. And how about any siblings? Any brothers or sisters?
Oh, yes, there were three girls and three boys. And then when I was 8 years old, my dad came in the house. He says, Emma, you've got to learn to milk cows. Because the girls were first, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I went out and helped milk cows, or learned how. And from then on, I milked cows. But all of us had to go out and pitch hay to make hay for the cattle, and we put it on a big haystack. And there's a picture of that
So you
here.
had a place with lots of cattle. Do you have any idea how many cattle?
Yeah, we had 8 cows, 2 horses, because in them days you never had tractors. So you had to have horses to do all the outdoor work like that.
And did you grow any crops?
Oh, yes. We raised everything by hand. We had corn and tomatoes and you name it, all the vegetables there were.
And were those primarily for your family?
Yeah. And then the cream we separated and sent it down to Kennewick to the creamery where they made butter. And of course you got paid for it. And let's see, what else?
How big was the place you had?
I think we had about 20 acres. We had a lot of asparagus, and us kids had to cut asparagus before the school bus came, or we didn't get to go to school. But we went to an old country school where was one teacher, 5 grades. There's a picture of me in one of them pictures.
And was this in Richland or?
Old Richland, up north.
Okay.
We never got downtown for a while. No, it was really something.
And so you said five grades? And
5 grades and 1 teacher.
And do you have any idea of around how many students that would have been?
I used to know, but I forgot.
Right.
That was back when.
Yeah. And
No.
how long did you go to school there then?
I think I was in the 5th grade, and then about that time we had a school bus that would take us downtown to the old schools. I called them old because they're so different
Yeah.
now.
Did you have a photo you wanted to show? So,
Oh, yeah, this is the country school.
okay, great. So it looks like there's maybe, 20 or 30
Could
kids
be.
there, something like that?
It could be.
1925?
That's about
Yeah.
right. I wrote it down there.
Yeah, 1925, Fruitvale School.
And this school was used for a church and a dance hall and a grange hall. Because, see, all the farmers were grangers.
Mhm.
So that was in the good old days.
And so, it's a great photo. After that, after, say, 5th grade, where did you go to school?
Downtown.
Okay.
There was a grade school and a high school down there.
And I think your son has some photos of you playing basketball, maybe?
Oh, yeah. That was downtown. That was a different kind of basketball. I was a side center on the second one there. The tallest girl was a center,
Uh-huh.
and then I was a side center because I was shortest. Then there were 2 guards and 2 forwards.
Oh, okay.
And now they play just like the boys do.
Yeah, it says champion basketball.
Yeah, that one is.
Yeah, 1935-36. That's great. Do you remember how long you played? That? Did you play throughout high school then?
Oh, yeah. That's what this is.
Yeah. Do you remember if there were other sports for girls to play in high school besides basketball?
That's all we played anyway.
Yeah.
Perhaps if you just show her so she can talk about it, because my shot's so close that all I see, I don't see it. We'd actually have to shoot it separately and cut away. But I for Bob's sake and everything, as far as the flow of this, yeah, just to make sure we have the right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. As long as that works, it'd be good. And we'll put them in later, so feel free to talk about them. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I assume the schools in sort of downtown Richmond were a little bigger?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There were 5 grades
Mm-hmm.
in one building. Then we went over to the high school.
Right.
And right by the high school was a Methodist church and a 7-day Adventist. Catholics all had to go downtown because there was no church. And so my dad found some building and had to make a Lutheran church because all Scandinavians were Lutherans. And that's where he came from. So we all became Lutherans.
So you talked about that early school building in Fruitvale being used, as a school building, a church, grange. I was wondering about other social activities or community activities that you might remember growing up, whether 4th of July or celebrations or community picnics or any of those sorts of things.
Well, I've kind of forgot, but I think they could have been used for anything. But those other things were always the big things.
Yeah.
No, them were the days. And I had to run from our house across the sagebrush to the school.
So what sorts of things growing up did you do for fun? Did you do fishing, or did you go swimming in the river, or any of those sorts
Well,
of
my
things?
dad, when we were little, would take us down the river and get us swimming to get cleaned up so we could go to church. See, we weren't too far from that Columbia River where we used to live.
So,
But that was in the summertime.
mhm. Yeah.
So we were tickled to death to get to go down there and swim.
Did the river ever freeze over when you were? going?
Not when we went down there.
Mhm.
This was only in the summer.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So the place where you grew up, so in addition to a house, did you have a barn? Was there other buildings, like an outhouse, anything like that?
Oh, yeah. We had outdoor toilets, pumped our water out of wells, and when we milked the cow, we had a separator and had to separate the milk and get the cream. Yep, we had all them old things. Had to pump water for washing clothes, taking baths, and put water in big tea kettles so you could wash dishes. No, it was a different world then.
Did you have electricity at all?
No, not for years.
Now, how long did you live there in that place?
Gosh, I don't remember. Seems like my dad passed away, and my mom sold our house. And we moved over next to that schoolhouse. There was an old building there. And she still kept a few cows. And just had a garden and worked out in the fields. So after that, we were catching school buses.
Mm-hmm. So when you were growing up, what might a typical day have been like for you as a young girl?
The what?
What might a typical day have been for you as a young? What sort
Oh.
of things might you have done on a typical day
Yeah.
as a young girl growing up?
Well, I joined the 4-H group, for one thing, and we really had a lot of fun. Learned how to sew and cook. That's what 4-H's were.
Mm-hmm.
In them days, I don't know if they still have them or not.
I believe they do. Yeah.
Do they?
Mm-hmm.
No, those were the days. Then there's times a few of us neighbor kids get together and walk down the river and walk back up. And swing on swings. And that was about the size of it.
So I wonder if you remember, anything. The Great Depression, came along in 1929 or so, and I wonder if you remember the Depression, anything specific, if it had impacted your family or in the community in any way?
No, I think because we raised everything we ate, my mom canned everything, and everything we had was from the ground. And none of us suffered from it because we had our own milk and those kind of things. No, them were the days.
And so where were you living in 1943 during World War II when the federal government came and created the Hanford site? Were you still
Oh, I was married then.
Oh, okay.
I got married in 38.
Okay.
Oh, that was a bad thing. The government gave everybody a check. They didn't even know this was coming and told them to get out, take everything you got, and leave. So my mom went to Grandview. Some of them went up there, some went to Prosser, and a couple of them stayed there. But they all had to leave town, and they went to Kennewick.
So your mother was still living in the same place at that time, and she left to move to Grandview?
Yeah.
Were any of your younger siblings still living with her, or?
Yeah, I think they were, because I was the oldest one.
Mm-hmm. And so you said you got married in 1938?
38, yeah.
And who was your husband? How did you meet?
He was a friend of my sister's boyfriend. That's how I met him. In fact, they didn't live too far from where we built a big house and lived in there.
Oh, okay. And
Westwood Avenue.
so you said you moved to Kennewick, right?
Yeah.
What was Kennewick like in 1938?
It was
early
real
1940s?
small. Just a small town. And it was just groceries and a couple drugstores. It's not pool halls like you go down there now.
And what did your husband do?
He was he was a farmer, but afterwards he worked out at Hanford in the fire department.
Oh, okay. Do you know how long he was there? Worked at the fire department?
Oh, I'm trying to think. Oh, they let him go, and then he got sick and passed away. It was probably something from out in that area. But that's been several years ago.
Yeah. Now you mentioned that, going back to talking about the place where you grew up, that you had a well for water.
Yeah, we pumped our water out of the well for even the cows and the horses. And we had to bring the horses up to the pump, because that's okay. But he carried the water in a big wheelbarrow and buckets to put in a barrel down for the cows, because he wasn't about to, I'm sure, drag them up there.
And did you have irrigation at all?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Not for the house, but for the fields.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, we had KID, just like they got now. Now,
Were there any other photos, Gary, that you good to talk about? Any of the other?
Well, sure. We've got for graduating class. Just I'll hold it.
So what years? So you graduated high school in what year is that?
38 or 6.
1936. Graduating class of how many is that?
2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
Graduating class of 15. From,
Yeah.
Was that Columbia High School?
No,
Oh,
Richland.
the old Richland, right, sure. Right, it's Richland High. Then became Columbia High, there was a Columbia High and then Richland High again, right?
Yep. 2, 4, 5 boys and the rest are girls.
Yeah. Did you stay in contact with a lot of those, your high school friends after?
Oh, after I graduated and got married, we all kind of. Then several years ago we had picnic lunches together, but that's been a while back. But not many of them are here anymore.
Do you remember any of your teachers from the high school, or?
Oh yeah, that basketball player. Oh, that guy there. In the middle, up there, Mr. Carmichael.
Oh, was that Mr. Carmichael?
Yeah.
Is that who the school's named after?
Mhm.
Was he a principal or?
Yep.
Okay.
He's a good guy. There's a grade school and a high school in downtown Richland. And that was, I can't see it, 1930 what?
5.
Oh.
Yeah, both are 1935.
Do you know where in Richland that would have been? They would have been.
Yeah. You know where John Dam's grocery store used to be?
No. Is it?
On Kennewick Avenue.
We're on town
Yeah.
You don't know either.
That's all right.
I know where to pick them
now.
out.
Where the Amen building is.
Well, just back of their ways.
Oh, okay.
But see, that's all that was around those buildings, just little.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not a whole lot of other buildings there.
No. I think there's a toilet in the back out there.
I would hope so.
Are there any things that that you remember growing up, or that really stand out to you? That memories you have, or things that you think would be really important for people to know about this place where you grew up that we haven't talked about yet?
Well, they would never have realized how we made our living off the ground. You know, kids nowadays won't do that. Okay, here is us kids driving the horses
Oh, okay.
because we had no tractors.
And that's you and a couple of your siblings?
Yeah, a couple boys. Yep,
And
that's old Prince and Henry.
And did you have the horses then the whole time you were growing up? You never got tractors or tractors?
Well, when my dad was alive, we never had a tractor. Then there's that one with the hay. Okay, that's how, show them how the haystacks were.
Yeah.
Can you talk about it?
Yeah, I know us kids would get the hay in big stacks, then we'd throw it up on this wagon. And then they had a rope here and here, and then time we got down to the haystack, they'd tie that rope up above and there, and then pull it over, roll it. That's how they got the hay in a big stack.
Sounds like a lot of work.
It was. In the wintertime, you'd take a great big canvas and cover the top of the hay, so it wouldn't get wet and ruined. That's how they fed the cattle and the horse.
I was gonna ask you about any neighbors. Who were your closest neighbors, or did you have any really good friends?
Oh, yeah.
Growing up that you remember?
These were my neighbors when I grew up. First grade.
Oh, who are they?
Tell them about it.
Oh, okay. That's Cass boy. I can't think of his name right now.
Oh,
He lived right down the ways.
Gordon?
No.
No, older?
It's at the bottom, Mom.
Oh, did I write it there? Oh, Ed Cass, yeah.
Okay.
And then Philip Hempcree, right there. And me. And, and Carol Hanson. He's the little guy. But they're no relation. Yep. They all lived not too far apart.
Right. Yeah. In fact, I just talked to Gordon Cass this morning.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
See, and then there was also another one, start the F. Oh, phooey. He lived down the Poline Road. There was a canal, irrigation canal between the school and the other families' farms.
And so you lived close enough to those families where you could.
Oh, we played
still
all
play
the time,
together,
yeah.
It's fun.
Gee, I can't think of that name, and I know it like I do mine. I'll think of it.
That's all right.
Oh, yeah. My dad wanted to be a baker. This is in Denmark. And his dad didn't want him to be a baker. So he and his cousin jumped something and come to the United States from Denmark. And that's how come he met my mom, and that's how come I'm here.
So did he come to the United States? Do you know why the United States, or just for opportunity?
Well, to get a good job. He wanted to maybe be a baker here. But he and his cousin, they went to Alaska. Then they come to Seattle and worked on a farm, and that's what got him interested.
Yeah, it's interesting because Gordon Cass, I was talking to him this morning, his father was from Denmark.
Oh,
Yeah. So two families from Denmark living very close.
well, I'll be darned. What was his name?
Cass. His first name was, Gordon Cass was the man I talked to this morning, but I think you're talking about his older brother.
Harold. I'll be darned.
Yeah, their father was from Denmark. Initially, he went to Oregon somewhere. And
Yeah.
eventually moved.
Hmm.
Yeah. Trying to think of any. I guess one other question to ask you is, so you're married in '38 and moved to Kennewick. And I was just going to ask you about do you remember finding out about, for instance, World War II, Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor? Do you remember any of that, any memories about hearing about that?
Pearl Harbor. God, I know about it and I forgot about it. What do I know about it?
That's what started World War II.
Pearl Harbor.
That's right. And the other question, did you have, how did you get news? Was there a newspaper?
Oh, yeah.
TV? Okay.
Newspaper. When we were married, we had a little radio for a while, and then we got a TV.
But when you were growing up, it was a newspaper?
Always.
Mm-hmm.
And a radio.
Um,
No, when I grew up, you never had televisions. I
no.
don't think anybody did.
Um,
Tell them about that.
Oh. Well, this is my mother and sisters and brothers. And there's the horse. See, that's how we heated up our house, with
Yeah.
wood.
yeah, sure. Right.
Everybody did.
What was the horse's name again?
Prince, and one was Prince, and one was Henry. I think that was probably Henry, because Prince was a little fustier, and I don't think they would carry him out.
So the horses were obviously very important
Oh, yes,
for doing a lot of the work on
Yep.
in your place.
because we never had tractors.
Mhm.
In fact, you couldn't afford to buy one if you did, if you would want one. No, them were the days. Oh, yes, and here's my mama and my papa and my two sisters. One of them's me.
You're the oldest?
Second.
Oh, you're the second. Oh, okay. That's a great photo.
Yeah,
So
my
that
dad.
would have been sometime in the 1920s, huh?
Early.
Yeah, early 20s, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's from Denmark.
And where, do you know where, you said she was living in Richland, right? When
Yeah.
they met. Do you know where her family came from?
Oh, like over on the coast. I was trying to think of the little name. Yelm.
Oh, Yum, okay.
Yeah.
And she said she had relatives here, and that's why.
That's why she came over. I think she had a sister or aunt or something. No, but I'll never forget our school days.
I'm kind of low on them.
That's okay.
You want to talk about, well, you've seen, no, that's the little kids.
Oh, the school.
Let me hold it.
Just a minute, I gotta look at it. Oh, this is everybody in that school.
That's your first grade.
Yeah, 1925. That's my first grade, yeah. But that's the 5 grades. They all dress alike in them days. We were all poor people.
So if someone was to ask you, like, what sort of place, Richland was like to grow up in, how would you describe it? What would you say to them?
In them days,
Yeah, when you were growing up.
well, I'd been in that place for so long, I don't know. Because there was an irrigation ditch from the school to, you cross the bridge, and we go home. We used to stop and go swimming. Oh, I kind of liked where I lived. And then, of course, after I got married, my mom went to Grandview. But that wasn't my cup of tea.
Did your brothers and sisters stay in the area? Or,
I'm trying to think.
or did they move elsewhere?
I think they moved elsewhere. I know one went down to Oregon, and the other one went up north further. No. And then my oldest brother was a heavy smoker, and he had to go pass away. I don't know where he ever got money to buy cigarettes, but he did.
Found it. Anything else about growing up here in Richland that you want to make sure we know about, or?
Well, I just like the town, Old Richland. And then where there is a yellow building, like before you go down to the park,
Mm-hmm.
brick building, that used to be a 2-story building. And now it's only one. There was a John Dam store and a Murray Hardware and a, what do you call it? It'll come to me.
Right.
Name some names quick.
Describes what? Describe it.
The store.
Yeah, describe it. What did they do there?
Oh, like the shave and cut your hair.
Oh,
Oh.
Barbershop.
Barbershop? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Was there a movie theater in town at all?
Not in Richland.
No.
You had to come to Kennewick to go to a movie. And they were cheap, 10 cents. Cheap now, I don't know if it's cheap then. My dad did take us kids to a movie once for a dime, but it had to be a special.
Right, sure.
No, them old days. Right now, they're good old days.
All right, well,
would you like me to prompt her?
sure, if there's something that you think.
I can probably pull a story or two out.
Sure, that's fine.
Okay. What do you, did you guys have dances?
Oh, yeah,
Okay. Did,
in that schoolhouse.
uh-huh. And did your parents participate?
Oh, heavens, yes. This is the Grange Hall.
Yeah.
After the meetings. My dad danced with every lady, but my mom wasn't dancing. So I asked her why. She said, I'm a Sunday school girl. But she never learned to dance.
So she wasn't going to dance.
No, she's a Sunday school girl.
Did your dad ever help you gals or your brothers and sisters get out to go to dances?
With him,
Oh, okay.
yeah, we all went to the dances.
But your mom didn't approve?
She went along, but she didn't dance. But I learned to dance all kinds of dances.
Remember when the last time you danced was?
Oh,
I do.
at your wedding?
No. You did there too.
We outdanced
It was
every.
your 90th birthday.
Oh yeah, That's
You
a couple
danced
ye-
with me.
it's a couple years ago. I forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love to dance.
So the dances were in that same building as the school, the church, Grange meetings, or was it in a different?
Well, as we grew up, they were in there, but as it got older in the bigger schools, they didn't do it anymore.
Oh, okay.
We all went downtown to the schools because they were much better schools.
Mm-hmm.
More new, indoor toilets, drinking water, everything.
Do you remember when your dad got sick eventually and died? Do you remember any of the stories that go along with that?
No, I know he passed away at home.
Do you remember what he died of?
I think it was his heart.
I think it was hepatitis.
His what?
Hepatitis.
Hepatitis.
It was, you called it the yellow jaundice.
Oh, I'd forgotten that. Yeah. That's been a while back. Yeah, hepatitis.
I was going to ask you, you and your siblings, were you all born at home?
Mhm.
Born all one home?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
No, doctors never come to your house in them days.
Mm-hmm.
You had to deliver them yourself. No, them were different days.
Any other stories you think we should talk about?
Give me a minute. Earlier there was was a question about the river freezing. Well, it certainly wasn't when you guys went swimming in it.
Oh, no.
But did it freeze in the winter?
Oh, yeah.
Was it common?
When it froze.
Did you ever go ice skating on it? Or
No, we stayed away from it.
I was also going to ask you, I understand that there was a ferry that would transport people across the river, is that right?
Yep,
Somewhere?
down south of Kennewick, across over to Pasco.
Okay. And that's how people could get across. There weren't any bridges at the time?
Yeah, there was. It was way down, like where it is now.
Okay.
But if you wanted to take the ferry over from Richmond, you wouldn't have to drive clear down there. And we did.
How about the Timmerman Ferry? You remember that one?
That name sounds familiar.
Mm.
That was the one across the Yakima? Because the other one,
I think it was near the mouth of the Yakima, but I think across the Columbia.
could be. I've heard the name.
I'm not sure. It was before my time.
I think that might be right. I think that's what I've heard, yeah.
Well, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
Well, I want to thank you for coming in today and sharing your memories, and the photos are great as well. Those are terrific photos.
Well, I hope I gave you some good advice.
Oh yeah, it's very interesting stuff to hear about from people who lived here. What was going on.
People would never done what we did.
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much. I really
Yeah.
appreciate you coming.
Imagine milking cows.
They still do.
Well, some places
With machines.
with machines. Yeah.